You're listening to GotTech the podcast with your hosts, Eric Guise and Nick Johnson. Today's special guest is teacher Josh Holland, whose band the Retroglyphs supplied the music for today's episode.
In this episode of GotTech the podcast, Josh Holland stops by to talk about EdTech apps that help motivate unmotivated students. Nick and I go over FlipGrid being acquired by Microsoft and what that entails. We go over some summer professional development that you can do for free. Finally, we close it up with another Tech Battle Royale.
Hey everybody, welcome back to GotTech the podcast. Today we have a special guest here to help us talk about unmotivated students and the role that EdTech can play in that sort of classroom environment. Our guest is an English teacher in his second year here at Hopewell Valley Central High School, where Guise and I both teach. He teaches an Atlas program, a 4-year English course geared towards assisting unmotivated students with a smaller classroom environment. This classroom emphasizes engagement through blended learning. That's one of our main things, so that should be extra helpful to talk about. Character education, community projects, and so forth. He is a 2007 graduate of Delran High School and a 2011 graduate of the College of New Jersey, currently in his 6th year of teaching. Aside from teaching, he's also passionate about music, playing drums for the 80s-inspired synthwave band the Retroglyphs, who, side note, have provided to us all of the music for today's episode, so we're pretty excited about that. So thanks, Josh, for allowing us to use your band's stuff, and I think we'll probably just get started by asking you to describe a little bit what the Atlas program is here at Central High School so people get a sense of the population you're dealing with and the types of things you can do for them.
Sure. Thanks for having me, guys. The Atlas program here at the high school stands for Achieving Through Learning and Success. It was formerly known as the RISE program, which was before my time. I honestly don't know what that used to stand for.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm not sure what that was standing for either.
But the Atlas program has been rebranded the last couple of years since I've been here, switching from what used to be an English class back in the day to a history class and now back to English. Essentially just a classroom for students who, as you said, are unmotivated, could benefit from having a classroom that's a little bit more engaging, a classroom where they don't feel like they're sort of lost in the mix of like a regular, say, 25 student classroom. But it's been really great because when I first came here, people had kind of like given me a heads up saying like you're going to have some of the more like tougher students in the school. But I'm coming from Willingboro High School, where it's a district with like a lot more, I guess, overall problems than we have here at Hopewell. And it's been nice to have a place that's a lot calmer and conducive to learning.
Okay.
So even though I have the challenging students, I've been able to develop a pretty nice rapport with them.
That's awesome. So smaller class sizes is definitely a difference. I know back to the RISE program because I am a little bit older, a little bit.
Yeah, you've been around for the RISE program and the Atlas program now.
Yeah, so I could tell you that down there, and when I say down there, it's really over there.
Well, it's down for us because of the way our hallways are set up for people that don't know what we're talking about. It's the lower numbered classrooms, that's all.
There you go. So down is the number, but they do a good job down there. I often go down there just to visit, just so I could get away from my wing a little bit. The kids are always down there doing something fun when you look in. What I really want to get into is more the technology aspect. How can educational technology, EdTech, help unmotivated students in the classroom, and what are some of the strategies that you use in your classroom to help these students?
Yeah, I mean, I think we can all agree that students just in general now consume technology at an incredible rate. Even your most high achieving student is probably addicted to their cell phone, and they just maybe have better skills when it comes to like ignoring them in the classroom.
Yeah, sure.
So, I mean, a lot of my students have that pitfall where they're constantly checking their phone, and, even with us having the one-on-one with the Chromebooks, that opens up like a whole new temptation for them. I know and a lot of schools are starting to crack down on like, as far as the network itself, like what sites can be accessed and stuff like that. But I've been able to make pretty good use of a few apps, such as like Prezi. I've used Classcraft, which is the one wanted to, like, I guess, focus most on. This sort of rules everything we do in the classroom in terms of like reward and even punishments in terms of student behavior. It's really a great classroom management tool, but one that like not too many people know about. So I would definitely recommend just like checking it out because there is a free version. I personally pay for the premium version, which I guess is like one of the issues with tech for you guys too. Like I'm sure you've experienced roadblocks where you find something that's really cool and you get the free version, and then there's like the premium version where things get a little, you step up the game a lot, but you also have to shell out the money.
Yeah, well, we talk all the time. You got to sort of pick and choose the ones that are the best, that really work the most for you, and usually you're willing to pay for those if they're good enough. Yeah, and
Classcraft is definitely one of the ones where I was like, these new features are definitely worth it. Because you can unlock, essentially, students create an avatar sort of character, like kind of like a medieval sort of theme where they can be like a warrior, they can be a mage or a healer.
Okay.
And they have different like abilities that they can unlock. So the students like to try to customize their character by accumulating points that I can give out for, academic reasons or just behavior. Someone did really great in class, and everything is customizable, like every single aspect of the game pretty much in terms of like what can give them points, what can have them have their points taken away. With the premium version, like there's a lot of outfits and stuff that they can customize too, which I didn't expect to be like super motivating for them, but like they like constantly, like every day they're reminding me to log into Classcraft and do like something that's called the Wheel of Destiny, where it's just like a random kind of like
the Wheel of Destiny.
Yeah, so I mean there's certain aspects of it
That's cool.
I like, because I'm into video games and stuff, and that I was like, oh, this is really neat, like I can kind of gamify my classroom. It was my first attempt at doing that, but at the same time I was kind of nervous that like the students would think it was really corny, because it's you can't really control your character or like move them around or anything or fight anybody,
right?
But it is just a really cool classroom management system.
That's awesome.
There's even like other apps built into it. There's like a volume meter that you can turn on, like if you're trying to keep your class quiet during a test, and if they can keep quiet, they get rewarded with points. There are boss battles, which are a new thing, which is essentially like a Kahoot, but you're fighting like some kind of monster, and your whole class is like teaming up against the monster to try to beat them, and each question they get right,
that's
like,
really cool.
That sounds
That's
awesome.
Take away like hit points and stuff.
They need to bring this in with the old Mike Tyson's Punch Out.
Yeah.
I think if I had a smart peer group of kids with me,
Yep,
I could finally beat Mike Tyson.
it sounds possible.
I think
Yeah.
I've been playing that
Power
for
of
30
teamwork.
years and I haven't beat Mike Tyson.
Nobody ever did. Nobody ever has.
I mean, is he beatable?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I want to put Josh on the hot seat real quick. We're going to fire away different educational assignments, assessments, and things like that. And all it requires from you is a yes or no answer.
Okay.
So we're going to say something out, and you're going to basically say whether, yes, you could put points to it through this app, or no, you can't. Okay?
Sure.
Nick, do you understand?
Yeah, I get it.
He looks at me weird, and this is like a constant thing. We sit across the table from each other, and he's making faces at me. I have
Yeah.
no clue what it means.
I just
Yeah.
try to confuse them, that's all.
Mission accomplished. All right, let's go. Homework.
Yes.
Behavior modification.
Yes.
Tests.
Yes.
Quizzes.
Yes.
Let's see here. Projects
Yes.
of any kind.
Yeah, pretty much. You can modify it.
Essays.
I could grade them myself and put the points into the thing, so yes.
Oh, you almost had them there.
That was close.
All right, let's go to the last one here. Cell phone usage.
Yes. Yeah, that's a big one as far as the punitive stuff.
I have a more important question. As the teacher, are you allowed to make an avatar for yourself? Like, can you be like the big boss of the whole thing and get involved?
Well,
Can
it's interesting that you bring that up because that's like probably my biggest complaint with the game is that you
Okay.
cannot.
That'd be so cool.
You are called the game master, but you have no, you have no avatar. So it's sort of like, I don't know, it's not fair because the kids show off. They're like, "Yo, I decked out my character,"
Right.
and some of them look like really awesome, and I'm just like, I'm like just invisible, I guess.
But it sounds like your kids actually, they got into it. Did that take any extra effort on your part, or was it a natural thing that just kind of happened?
Yeah, I mean, they have a lot of resources on the site, like for videos you can play.
Okay.
That sort of demonstrate the first day or the first week, and like a lot of even professional development opportunities for teachers where they can do webinars and, even chat with people that are involved with the program. But yeah, I guess it just came down to like my own enthusiasm and just kind of selling them on it. As teachers, we're always doing that with stuff. If you can make it seem that way, it goes a long way.
I'm going to tell you what, I'm interested in this Classcraft a lot. I love gamification. So Classcraft, we're going to tag you in this episode, and we love what you're doing. We think it's awesome. So just make sure that you really take into consideration Josh's suggestion of getting a avatar for the teacher. I think it would be super awesome. You guys rock. And Josh, thanks for coming out today.
Yeah, thanks guys. Appreciate it.
You can follow GotTechED outside the podcast at GotTechED.com or on Twitter at Guise GotTechED and Nick GotTechED.
Big news out there in educator land. FlipGrid and Microsoft partner up. So, wow. That's all I have to say right now is wow.
Really exciting. Yeah, that's crazy because Google has been such a huge, that's what most educators are using now to sort of tie in the EdTech into their classroom. So this is really a big change for Microsoft.
And with the release of Microsoft Surface Pro, is Microsoft becoming more relevant in educator land?
Well, I think there's kind of been this explosion of EdTech out there, and Google's been behind most of that, and I think there's probably a lot of money in that, and Microsoft is seeing that and trying to get into the game a little bit themselves. So with the, how exactly did this go down? Did you get all the details? Like, did FlipGrid was bought by Microsoft, correct?
Correct. They announced their partnership, and they announced that Microsoft was acquiring FlipGrid.
Okay.
FlipGrid is an educational monster. I always thought FlipGrid would actually go over to the Google platform in some way, shape, or form.
Right.
And they kind of did. I mean, they all work well together.
Because FlipGrid is their own entity. They're at least they were not associated with Google prior to this.
No, but they played nice with
Right.
everyone, which is kind of huge in the educational realm right now.
Yeah.
If you play nice with everyone, you can become more popular because you're not eliminating your audience. If you're a Chromebook district, you could use FlipGrid. If you're an Apple district, you could use FlipGrid.
So should we recap for everyone really quick what FlipGrid is, just in case there's some people totally new to the whole subject?
Yeah, go for it.
So for the people that don't know, FlipGrid, it's an online community where a teacher logs in, you create a classroom, you register all your students just like normal, and you create what they call a grid. And that grid can be used a bunch of ways. That can be your classroom. Some teachers refer to it as a community. But pretty much within that grid, you create a topic, and you can post videos there. But once you create the topic or two, that sparks a class discussion. Really, it's a digital classroom discussions. And once you post that topic to the grid, then your students share their responses, typically in short videos that they create of themselves. That's probably the simplest way to describe it. And it's really one of the, I'm not sure the best word, but it's one of like the flagship EdTech things out there for teachers right now because it's so easy and it just works really well. So the good thing is that with the Microsoft purchase, FlipGrid is supposed to be totally free for education.
And that's big because prior to this, you would get one grid. You would get one grid. You could do whatever you want with that one grid. But once that one grid is used, that was your free service. Now, all the resources are free. All the grids. You can make as many grids as you want. That's huge. A product like this going out there for free is unbelievable, especially when you see certain platforms now become, subscription based, like Padlet.
Yeah.
Padlet just became subscription based, and then a couple weeks later, we have FlipGrid for free. Huge.
Well, we just talked about this in a recent episode, is that when these programs get really popular, when they get really big because they're good, that's when they sort of tend to switch over to the subscription based where you have to pay a fee, which is sort of a bummer as a teacher because then you're counting on your school to hopefully pay for you or paying out of pocket, which is not good, but also those tend to be the better programs. So FlipGrid is one of the best, most popular things out there to be free, is pretty exciting and pretty big news. I also read that they will actually be, for schools that already have paid for subscriptions, they're going to pay you back. They're going to prorate like a refund to those teachers in those schools. So that's pretty cool too.
Those schools have to be thrilled because now they're able to go out and get some other subscription-based EdTech tool
with that money
that they're going to be able to bring in and probably pair up with FlipGrid, maybe integrate it, maybe a Canva.
Right.
Something like that. We got to talk about this. I mean, I was concerned. My concern was if Microsoft bought FlipGrid, am I still going to be able to use it with my one-to-one Chromebook subscription or initiative at school? Are we going to be able to use it? The answer? Yes. FlipGrid is going to continue to run and perform on Chromebooks, iPads, iPhones, PCs, Android devices, and so on.
Yeah. I wonder for how long they're going to keep that going, though. If Microsoft is trying to edge their way in, maybe they try and squeeze out Google eventually, or all us Chromebook users going to get kind of left up in the air a little bit with how we're going to integrate this, I wonder.
I think we're just going to have to wait and see. I mean, the other thing that we got to talk about is FlipGrid support team is phenomenal. You hear all this FlipGrid fever, all these professional developments. They have conferences out there hosted by FlipGrid for FlipGrid activities and professional development. So with this, will Team FlipGrid still be around?
Right.
Or is it going to be taken over by Microsoft?
I think they'll probably keep doing that stuff. I mean, Microsoft is a big company, so they'll probably keep up most of that stuff, in my opinion. I was just reading, though, that they're trying to make FlipGrid integrate with more Microsoft products. They have teams for chatting with people online. They're trying to make it integrate with that. Also, Microsoft OneNote, they're trying to make it integrate with that, which that sounded a little bit concerning to me because on the Google platform stuff, I never use OneNote at all. I couldn't really even tell you exactly what Microsoft OneNote is for. So that sounds a little bit concerning, maybe making it sound like they may want to switch over to that kind of thing in the future.
I mean, it all depends on what Microsoft wants to do with it. I know talking to some of the FlipGrid people that go out and do some of these professional developments, and I've only been to one session at one conference on FlipGrid, and they had me sold there. I hope the enthusiasm stays along what's best for education, and that would be just to keep it compatible with everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my hope, that's my dream, but I have to give a big shout out to Microsoft. Thank you for the free FlipGrid service. I mean, this is huge. This is amazing.
Yeah, for now, free is good. And to put it into perspective, Microsoft wants people to use it more than anything else. They just need the users to stay. Being free is a huge part of that. That'll give them a boost. But I just read this on a USA Today article that 60% of all mobile personal computing devices shipped to schools were Chromebooks. So that's a huge percentage of schools that kind of have to use Chromebooks, at least for the foreseeable future. So Microsoft kind of can't come in and make that not compatible because then nobody would even be able to use it.
But if you look, more and more people are getting into this one-to-one device, realm. It's becoming the norm. It's slowly converting to the norm.
Right.
So by releasing this Surface Pro by Microsoft, I mean, that's getting them into the game. Before then, they had laptops.
Right.
Were they really in the game? And then to acquire FlipGrid, if they could go out and acquire one or two more of these pieces and start to make their own LMS, kind of like the Google Classroom or something like that, and make it more branded and more part of the discussion, I think Microsoft is on to something.
Me too.
I mean, personally, I'm a Google guy, but you know what? If Microsoft is going to make it a better space for learning, we have to honor that. We have to respect that and see what they're about. I mean, especially if they can make the Surface Pro as affordable as a Chromebook.
Right. Well, and the competition is always good too. If Google knows that there's somebody kind of chomping at its heels with this sort of stuff, that just pushes the boundaries for both companies, which means bigger and better stuff for teachers. So
yeah, I think the competition between companies is definitely a good thing because instead of driving prices up, maybe we could get it more affordable for the educational community, which will be better for everybody.
So let's close it out. Do you go thumbs up or thumbs down from Microsoft buying FlipGrid?
I'm telling you right now, I'm giving it 2 enthusiastic thumbs up.
I'm going to go 1.5. My only half thumbs up is that it's just a caution for switching her from the Google stuff. But like we talked about, I think we're going to be pretty safe with that. And if there's any teachers out there who haven't used FlipGrid yet, we cannot stress enough how great this is. As we've mentioned many times before in the podcast, go check it out. Sign up for free. It takes about 15 seconds and you can start using it in a few months. So any teacher knows that over the summertime, even though we're out of school and we don't have to show up at 7 o'clock in the morning, Monday through Friday, it's actually a really busy time. I know for Guise and I and a lot of teachers, we're both furthering our education in graduate school and other pursuits like that. A lot of teachers have summer jobs. I'm doing some consulting work for a nearby company that's like a testing, ETS, educational testing service. So we keep busy. Teachers like to be busy. We're super busy all through the year, and it's kind of good to keep that going, take on some different sort of educational work, just to keep your mind fresh. And it's also just a nice time to sort of brush up on some things. And a big part of that is taking advantage of a lot of the free PD that goes on over the summertime. I know it's really popular for teachers to attend different PD sessions if there's some taking place nearby. One of the most exciting things with EdTech, however, is that there's all sorts of free online educational tech PD that teachers can attend to. So we thought we'd do a quick segment, and we talked a little bit about this last time, but we found some more. So we thought we'd bring up some other free summer trainings that teachers can attend, starting with one that I think, Guise, you're going to be involved with, the EdPuzzle one, right?
Yeah, I just completed the EdPuzzle Coach professional development. We'll put a link to this in the show notes, but I love EdPuzzle. To be honest with you, I have not been able to use it. Well, I haven't been able to use it because I don't have my own classroom,
right.
But I haven't put it into one of my lessons yet.
Sure.
And the reason is I only found out about it during Chris Nessi's House of EdTech Final Four Technology March Madness bracket.
Right.
That's the first time I saw it. And I went in there and, I checked out some of the ones that made it to the Elite Eight. And this is one that I wanted to use. So I went on to their site. I checked it out. I made a free account. I did all that good stuff. And then I was on Twitter, which... me, I wasn't really on social media in the Twitter sphere.
Right.
I don't know. I just started that, November? I think I had 4 likes in the first 4 months, and now I'm a little bit more active, and I understand how it works a little bit better. And I'm starting to get involved with those ed chats, like Sat Chat, #SatChat. I love that one. Saturday morning, I wake up, have a cup of coffee, go sit on my back deck, and I'm chatting away with 500, 600 educators on Saturday morning about various topics. And you grow your personal learning network, your PLN. But then someone mentioned something about becoming an EdPuzzle coach. And I was like, this is great. It's free professional development and allows me to get more familiar with the EdTech tool. So I went on to the link that was in Twitter and it linked me up with this free professional development. And I was like, I'm in. I'm doing it. So I sat down and I did the 7 modules in like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours.
Oh, nice.
And now I'm an EdPuzzle coach.
What does that mean? What does being a coach get? Is that basically just saying that you're trained and you can competently use that program?
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, if I go to a conference and I want to show a lesson that I created and I innovated into using EdPuzzle, now I can put that I'm an EdPuzzle coach there. So I'm competent enough to answer certain questions about the program, and I'm also competent enough to give a background of the program and ways that I've used it. So now by doing this free professional development, I am now a resource for other people. They see that, they could ask me questions about it, and I could help them basically integrate EdPuzzle and improve their craft, and hopefully improve and engage students through more valuable tech integrated lessons.
This is a lot of these things are great too. If you're just trying to add stuff to your resume as a teacher, if you're a lot of us have done you can get Google, you can be a Google certified educator. That's a popular one. Just take some online. I forget how they run it. How does the Google do that?
So I got Google level 1 certified a year and a half ago. I think it's about ready to run out because I think it's good for every 2 years. Google changes a lot, so I agree with that. And I'm actually signed up for level 2. I have a week to take my test. You pay $25, I think, for level 2. I think it's like 10 or 15 for level 1.
Yeah.
Once you get those 2 done, then there are some others like Google Innovator and Trainer. Those are 2 that I could see myself doing once I get done with my, my extra schooling that I'm doing right now.
But it's just like some tutorials, right? You kind of click through some things, take a test, and then you have that little stamp to add to yourself.
There are a lot of people out there that blog about getting you ready to take these exams, but really it's 3 hours in front of a computer and you have these tasks that you got to do.
Okay.
And they videotape you. So you have to give them permission to videotape you to make sure that you're the one that's actually doing it, I guess.
Wow.
There's a level of accountability there. But I know like Alice Keeler, she writes a lot about some of the different tasks that you need to do, and she gives you some feedback as to what you could do to prepare for these certifications. I think Shake Up Learning also does it a little bit. So, I mean, there's some blogs out there. I bet you Eric Kurtz and Control-Alt-Achieve, he probably does something with that as well. But those are some of the ones that a lot of people know about. There are others out there.
But it's just cool to list as much of that stuff after your name on the resume or on your website or your business card or whatever you're doing, just to kind of help establish yourself. And I think it looks good for you as an educator and for your school too. Your district would love to see as many of those things as possible.
Plus, think about growing your PLN on Twitter or something like that. I mean, one of the things that I look for is to see what other people are into. I go to Sat Chat or Ditch That Textbook, Ditch Chat, and all that stuff. The first thing I do when someone talks is I click on them, I see what they're all about, and if it's someone that I can relate to or has the same interest, I want to connect with them. They might pass me an idea that I can use in a lesson, or maybe I could pass them an idea that they could use. And, that's how we build off of each other, create this network that just grows and grows and grows. I mean, if we have a network of 10 people and we're all Google One certified, well, great. We all have the same, attributes.
Right.
But now if all of a sudden you get Ed Level 2 certified, Google Level 2 certified, I get NearPod certified or EdPuzzle coach, now we have more to share with one another.
Yeah.
And we can grow from one another. So I think that's a big part of it too. And I know I just mentioned one that you want to talk about, and that's NearPod.
Yeah, so if you're looking to add something else after your name there, or if you just want to learn about something else cool this summer in your free time, NearPod is also, they have a webinar and workshop to learn how to get started with some of the NearPod tools and strategies that's available. NearPod's a weird one because it does so many things. I've always described it as a learning management system where you create classes, your kids log in. And I think that's probably the still best word for it, but I'll just list quickly some of the stuff that it does in case anybody listening is unfamiliar. NearPod is really great for creating interactive lessons. So you have your kids log in and they click through a series of tutorials or videos that you kind of lay out as the teacher creating them. There's a whole library of already customized, ready to teach interactive lessons that teachers can take advantage of. And you can launch these lessons kind of instantly for your students to view, which is the cool part. One of the things they really push is 100% student participation, because part of the lesson itself is requiring every single student to participate. And because it's all electronic, you can keep track of that and manage that. Kind of helps students to take ownership over their learning. The other thing, of course, with all these, the learning management stuff is it collects all that student data and gives it to you in nice, really easy to view format, so you can really make sure that all the students are progressing and help the ones, or build in other strategies to help the ones that really need it and aren't progressing at the same rate as everybody else. So NearPod is really tons of different tools for teachers, and they are, like I said, they're sponsoring a free webinar or workshop for teachers to learn how to get started with this service. Part of it will also give you the option to look at some of the more advanced things you can do with NearPod once you get comfortable. I know a lot of times you may have talked about this, but as part of these trainings, they will actually require you, before they give you that title or to say that you've completed the training, they will require you to actually produce something. And I know the NearPod one, part of it will be creating a NearPod lesson according to whatever their recommended lesson guide is. So that will kind of force you to actually get your hands in there and work with the tool, which is great. I know that can be intimidating, but that's the only way we're going to get comfortable. This also is going to have a teaching component where you can use any of their pre-existing NearPod lessons to teach 15 or more students over the course of one or more class periods, which is really cool. They'll kind of walk you through that whole process as well. So if there's any teachers out there looking to make some big changes with their EdTech this coming year, NearPod's an awesome way to do it, and you can learn about it with this webinar.
So I think we're going to segue into something that we brought up last week, but I just want to throw it out there again because I think this one is going to be huge.
Yeah.
I mean, just the people that are presenting there, it's online, it's 100% free. All you have to do is register, and it's 14 days long, I think.
Whoa.
August 1st to August 14th. The videos you're going to be able to have for another week or two afterwards. It is the hashtag Hive Summitt. All right, so the idea is everyone's a worker bee, and in education, we all work together and make something great. All right, so if you go to hashtag Hive Summitt on Twitter, you could Google that and it will come up and you can register. And it's going to be a whole bunch of presentations by some of the big guys in education and some of the people that, I've been checking out all summer. One that I've probably spent the most time learning from this summer is Matt Miller, and he's the author of Ditch That Textbook. That's his site. That's his book. He has other ones that came out. Ditch That Homework. There's some other ones. Dave Burgess is also another one. He's the pirate guy that I always talk about.
Oh, yeah.
I find him very interesting. One that came to our school, Rick Wormelli. Do you remember him?
Yeah,
a couple years ago?
Yeah, he's got some really creative ideas. He's a good listen.
And, he's fantastic. I thought he was like a funny Steve Martin-like person in education.
He looks like Steve Martin, too. Kind of reminds me of
he's
him.
very funny, very knowledgeable, quick-witted guy.
Yeah.
There are others that are coming to this workshop. Sarah Thomas, Tara Martin, the Tech Rabbi. He's an awesome one too. I find him hilarious as well. I've seen a couple online interviews with him. He's a guy that I follow on Twitter. And we'll throw these Twitter handles in our show notes as well, so you can check them out, as well as the Hive Summitt web address.
Did you say this was 14 days? I know we talked about staying busy over the summer, but man, 14 days.
Well, it's a long time, and it's not like 24 hours a day.
It's not even. Is it 8 hours a day videos? You can log in anytime?
I think it's a decent amount of presenters and decent amount of topics. But here's the thing, it's open for 14 days. And then after that, that was the ones that they pushed out on a schedule. But then you could go back and revisit them for a time period longer, which I think is awesome, because you don't need to sit down and look at every one. I mean, if there's something that doesn't pertain to you or doesn't interest you, that's like a kid wwho doesn't like photosynthesis going to a photosynthesis workshop.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the point?
Go
to something that interests you. So, Rick Morel, I can't say his last name. We'll just call him Big Rick.
Big Rick.
Big Rick. He kind of talked to us about standards-based grading and what value homework you get out of homework and things like that. And that was stuff that was like now becoming popular. We have standards-based grading going up through our elementary schools, probably going to reach our high schools soon.
Yep.
I mean, these things he thought about a while ago. And to be honest with you, some of these topics have been out, but he boldly came out and said, this will be the way.
Yeah.
And at first, I know when I listened to it, I was like, this guy is a great salesman and he's a little off his rocker. But I mean, I've been to a workshop or two with him since then, and it's like I reflect on it and it's coming to life. This stuff is coming down the pipes. It's coming to life. You're slowly starting to see a trickle-down effect because of the Chromebooks, because of the technology. It's becoming more student-centered, more collaborative. And if you're going to make it more student-centered, it has to be about the student. So we're no longer comparing one student to another student. Now we're comparing a student to his former self. Where has he come from?
Right.
Or she, where has she come from? And that's a big part of this game. So the Hive Summitt, go check it out. Whole bunch of presentations, whole bunch of professional development, and it's 100% free. You can't beat it.
Free is good, and at home is good. Watch them on your own time. Whatever you are interested in, you can check it out. So we got the Hive Summitt, we have the NearPod, and we have Becoming an EdPuzzle Coach. Go check them out.
It's time for the Tech Battle Royale! That's right, it's time for the Tech Battle Royale. This is where Nick and I go mano a mano. We come up with the best choice, or at least our opinion of the best choice, of the EdTech tools out there, depending on the category. So without any further ado, Nick, I'm just going to go ahead and spin this wheel.
Go for it.
The reason why I didn't have you read the categories this week is because I really didn't care. I feel so confident this week that you could tell them it's English, you could tell them that it's history, you could tell them whatever you want to tell. I have one for every category.
Wow.
And it's gonna slay anything that you come up with.
Well, we don't really even pay attention to the categories anyway. We change them half the time from episode to episode. So I agree with your decision. Although I will say this, I'm also ready with at least one or two options for all of our possibilities. And I'm pretty sure they're better than yours anyways.
So we're going to take this back to the medieval times when you have people challenging other people till death. And we're going to kind of do the same thing here. Nick and I are standing up in the middle of my basement, back to back, and we're going to take 3 steps. We're going to turn around. And we're going to make some good old medieval time fun for you guys today.
All right. So I'm going to come at you for, I guess I'll get it started if you don't mind. I got my choice for today's challenge is something called ClassDojo. ClassDojo, just to kick it off and let everybody know how awesome this thing is, used in 90% of K through 8 schools in the entire United States. Always free for teachers. You can find it at ClassDojo.com. It's a really great tool, and it's kind of good we didn't choose a category this time because ClassDojo, I don't know if it really fits in any EdTech category. Really, it's just about connections and collaboration between teachers, students, and the best part of that to me is school community, the parents as well. Some of the things in general that ClassDojo is really good at, creating a really nice, positive classroom culture that makes all the students feel a part of it, but also involves the families at home. Teachers can encourage students based on whatever skill, whatever thing they're good at, whether it's working hard, being kind. This is just some of the stuff listed on the ClassDojo website. It gives all students a voice and allows the teacher to showcase their own work to the rest of the class, and also sharing those moments with the parents at home. It does a lot of helpful things just as far as classroom management, such as making random student groups where you can sort of on the fly select how many students you want in a group, and it sort of automatically arranges them. It allows you easy and fun, kind of creative, interesting ways to display activities on the board if there's like certain directions. There's backroom music, sound monitors. I guess some of this fits in with a learning management system category. Just to list a few things. My favorite part of this would probably be, I haven't used it as a high school teacher, but just looking at some of the resources, my favorite part is their classroom student digital portfolios look really awesome. They're interactive, so when a student makes a digital portfolio, a lot of times it's kind of dry and it ends up a little bit boring for them, but these things are interactive and really exciting to look at, and you can, as a teacher, choose to share those with the parents. I've mentioned that a couple times. You can almost create, it's like the parents of the students in your class. They make like a little chat group where you can message back and forth with parents when you want to at your own leisure. That includes sharing pictures. Parents can join that class, so anything that's posted in the class, parents can see too. And just as an interesting side note, translates messages into 30 or more languages.
Wow.
What do you got?
That's a lot of languages.
Unless yours can do 31 languages, I don't really know how you're going to beat that.
I'll use Google Translate and go as many as I want.
Touche.
All right, so here's the thing. Yours sounds like an a la carte.
Yeah, I guess so. I think the collaboration is the biggest. That seems to be what ClassDojo pushes the most, is like just really letting everybody know what's happening in the classroom.
All right, so I just got a question for you.
Yeah.
Just one question. If you had to say the hardest to integrate out of Google Docs, Google Sheets, and Google Slides, which one would you choose?
The hardest to integrate with this ClassDojo thing?
No, the hardest to integrate in a lesson.
Okay.
Which one do you feel the most uncomfortable? Because you're probably...
Yeah, sure. I guess Google Sheets probably most uncomfortable with.
No, we didn't talk about this at all beforehand, did we?
No, I have no clue where this is going.
So I'm just throwing this basically out there because I know you so well.
I think I'm walking into something.
And I think that you are a lot like other teachers out there, and myself included,
sure,
saying that Sheets has a lot of functionality that we don't even know how to use.
We don't know about, yes.
Do you know how to put formulas into your cells?
I can do formulas.
Like all formulas?
I know of like 6 to 7 different formulas.
All right, so what I'm getting at...
All right, where's this
going?
going?
I'm going to go at like a car salesman here, a business guy, and I'm going to say Flippity. Right. Flippity is my EdTech tool of choice this week, and it is another a la carte resource for you.
Okay.
You want flashcards? Flippity has it. You want a quiz show? Flippity has it. Random name picker? You got it. You want to test yourself on your typing skills, or you want to make a badge tracker? You can do that. And badges are, they're coming up pretty hot lately, especially with students. They like to level up. They like to be gamified. Let's get some of those game elements in there. You want to take care of your K through 8 classrooms? If they're still into spelling words, Flippity has spelling words. I use crossword puzzles in my digital escape the rooms. It has a maker. Word search, you need something right before the holiday to keep their attention for 10 minutes? You got yourself a word search pretty easy. You want to play bingo as a review game? They can make bingo boards, and they throw all this into sheets. So you could throw them out using sheets. How many times you go into a classroom and they're playing hangman last 5 minutes of class?
Yeah, we see that.
All right, so why not turn in your vocabulary into a hangman game? All right, just to introduce it to them, see what they know, see what they got, see if they can recognize it. This is my favorite one. Flippity has a progress indicator that goes into Google Sheets. If it's in Google Sheets, it's updating as you update it. Therefore, you have yourself a scoreboard. And this tool in itself is amazing because you have a classroom discussion going and you want to keep tabs at who's participating or which teams are doing the best, asking the best questions. Flippity progress indicator coming right at you. Younger grades, if you want to play the memory game, they have something for it. You have mix and match. You have Mad Libs. Say an English teacher wants to use Mad Libs kind of as a fun activity to introduce some topic. You got it. Here's another good one. Tournament Bracket Maker. Flippity has it. So me as a science teacher, I go over 12 to 14 scientists every quarter. What if I have 12 to 14 scientists in my bracket and we do something online where we get, after I go over 2 people within that bracket, they get to go vote for which one they thought had the more, monumental finding to science, contributed more to science. And then at the end, we have the Flippity certificate quiz. So you could easily turn a Google spreadsheet into a quiz to earn a certificate.
All right. I'm looking at Flippity.net right now. I'm big into the aesthetics of the thing. I think if people are going to buy in, it's got to look good. It's got to look professional. ClassDojo's got all these like weird little green monster things, little ninja headbands, super cool, super classy, super professional. Flippity looks like it was built in 1998 by a college student. I don't know if anybody's going to want to get on here and use this stuff. Look at this thing.
My thing is it's helping do the behind the scenes thing.
Yeah.
All right. We're creating something into sheets. So you got to make sheets look good. And you're not going to want some cookie cutter template out there. You want to make it good, look good with your own taste. So what they're doing is they're writing the code behind it and throwing it into a Google sheet for you to update.
How many languages? You got 30 plus languages?
Hey, Google Sheets is part of Google Translate.
Right.
You can do as many languages as you want.
Yeah, I mean, we're sort of on different playing fields, but I guess if you tally up like the sheer number of things, I mean, there's a lot of stuff on this.
I got a couple of questions for you.
All right, what do you got?
Well, actually, I'm going to start off by telling you a story. When I grew up, I was with my grandfather, and every Sunday we would go to Ponderosa after church.
The restaurant, right?
Yeah, Ponderosa, and he would give me the salad bar. But the thing is his salad bar price was like $12.99, but I was a kid.
Yeah.
And mine was only $6.99. You're probably wondering what the point of this story is, right?
Like most of your stories.
Ponderosa was able to service both me and my grandfather. Kind of like Flippity. It has something for all ages. Where yours, ClassDojo, 90% of all schools K through 8 has ClassDojo. Well, what are we going to do with 9 through 12? Are we just going to let them hanging?
Right, yeah. ClassDojo, I overlooked that. Definitely is more for younger grades. And you're right. Flippity has everything could be addressed here. Plus the badge thing. Badges are huge. The badge tracker that Flippity's got would be a pretty cool service.
I'm just saying that though you don't like the aesthetics of the site, it's the backdoor channel that makes your sheets something great. I
mean, I was just looking for something to pick on here. I don't even really, there's so many different things. I'm sure, it is pretty neat and clean looking also. So I may have to give up on ClassDojo for this one and pass the win over to you for Flippity for this particular round.
I'm going to give Flippity a shout out. Keep making these tools. These are pretty awesome. Let's make Sheets be the best Google platform tool that we can by using some of these Flippity tournament bracket, certificate quiz, and all that stuff. Let's follow Flippity on Twitter at FlippityNet. I'm going to take this victory speech away, and I want to thank you until next time. In this Tech Battle Royale, Flippity took down ClassDojo. Both of these are high-quality, high-functioning, multi-purposeful EdTech tools, and Nick and I both suggest that you go check them out. Typically, in a victory speech, we give you some type of quote that we tie in with that day's episode. In this episode, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to speak a little bit from the heart, and I'm going to wish every teacher out there a happy, restful, peaceful summer, and I hope that you'll have some downtime where you can just sit under a shade tree with a nice ice-cold summer drink, and I want you to keep it easy, I want you to keep it breezy, and I want you to get EdTech'd. Until next time, you could join us on Twitter at WeGotTech'd or on our website at www.gottech.com.